is a past president of the Texas Festivals and Events Association and the Texas Association of Fairs and Events. His numerous accolades include inductions into the International Festivals and Events Hall of Fame and the Texas Festival and Events Association Hall of Honor. Joe Vera, beyond his professional achievements, was deeply involved in community service, contributing to organizations like United Way, Sacred Heart Catholic Church, Lions Club, Boy Scouts, and 4-H. He was an Eagle Scout. Right? Yeah. Where do you find time for all this stuff? Incredible. He exemplified the values of dedication and service in every facet of his life. Joe Vera's legacy is etched into the very fabric of McAllen. His vision and unwavering commitment have left an indelible mark on our city. Joe would often quote P.T. Barnum, the noblest art of all is making others happy. And in that sense, Joe was as an incomparable artist who brought joy to countless lives. And as we gather for the Border Texan of the Year event, another example of Joe's visionary leadership, let us honor his memory and celebrate the immense contributions he made to our community. And we extend our deepest condolences to his family, friends, and all who were touched by his remarkable life. If you're just joining us, we are reading the press release from City McAllen, as it was this morning that Assistant City Manager Joe Vera passed away. That's all the information we have.
He was at Hidalgo before he came to McAllen, and I think he made his reputation or burnished his reputation. I don't know which. It was a long time ago, and the event that Hidalgo has that now I can't think of the name of it, but it was a big deal, a lot of moving parts, and I guess that's when they brought him on board. He tried to bring the event to McAllen, but it didn't work out, so it stayed in Hidalgo. And I don't know what it's doing, but there's one of these events where you got like 50 people and 50 different organizations involved, and that's what he did.
Yes, many successes, Davis, that we would like to highlight. Thank you very much. And yes, obviously our thoughts and prayers go out with the family and the community, because this is a tremendous loss for the community. It
is.
Assistant City Manager Joe Vera.
Well, the stuff you said, you read that he took charge of. That's a big to-do list.
They don't give responsibilities like that to just anybody.
Yeah.
In other headlines locally, it was announced yesterday, former Congresswoman Myra Flores was in and out of the hospital after a sudden health scare. And that was after she announced that she was planning to run against Democrat Congressman Henry Cuellar in the 28th District next year. Very eventful 24 hours, I tell you. Representatives had called it a sudden health scare, adding that Flores felt stronger than ever after being released. An update on the man who jumped from the Queen Isabella Causeway to allegedly avoid arrest. He's now facing charges. Jose Roberto Boteo appeared in court in South Padre Island yesterday. Investigators say that he jumped off the causeway on Monday after police officers tried to make a traffic stop. Boteo reportedly has active warrants in Hidalgo County for robbery, deadly conduct, and unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon.
Oh, God.
And he's been charged with evading arrest and failure to identify, and has been given a $35,000 bond. A bill allowing universities to directly pay student athletes for their name, likeness, and image has the preliminary approval of the Texas House. State reps expected to give their final approval in the next few days, but it might face an uphill battle in the Senate. This one's interesting, Davey, and I'm pitching this one to Football Fred Alfaro for us to discuss a little bit later in the week, the details in and out of this, because some people are concerned that there is an incredible amount of money being given to people that are way too young to understand how much money that actually is. There's talks about putting some of that money in a trust fund of some sort or what have you. Some people discuss, well, if they're getting money for NIL, then they don't need scholarship money. Some people are saying. There's a lot to unpack for this particular thing, and we'll talk about that. But school vouchers, did you hear earlier today, not but maybe an hour ago, maybe less than an hour ago, it passed 144-4 in the Texas House. Now they're going to kick it back to the Senate, because there needs to be some reconciliation, Davey. The House wants things that the Senate might not want. And
Yeah.
the Senate wants things that the House might not want. So here we go. Back and forth. It begins. And coming up next on the program, Harvey Kromberg from the Quorum Report. That's coming up next on News Talk 710 KURV, your 956 drive home.
This is Michael Berry, host of The Michael Berry Show, weeknights starting at 6. Thank you, Rio Grande Valley, for listening to News Talk 710 KURV.
This spring, make your business bloom with 710 KURV. The season of growth is here, and with us, your sales will take off too. We have the most listened to radio stations, the most visited social media platforms, digital products, and effective promotions that connect with your audience. Our marketing team is ready to assist you with expert advice, creative ideas, and dedicated support to help you succeed. Call 956-992-8895 to secure your spot. Advertise with 710 KURV. And let your business shine this season.
Later tonight, join us for Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman. From global warming to abortion, the Constitution, and what America was meant to be. Listen to someone who knows what he's talking about. Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman, tonight at 6 on News Talk 710 KURV.
A great deal on the construction equipment you rely on. Right now at ASCO, get 0% APR financing for 48 months on select case skid steers, compact track loaders, mini excavators, and backhoes with approved credit. Plus, no payments for 90 days on skid steers and compact track loaders. And with a 3-year, 3,000-hour premium extended warranty included, you're covered from the start. Need equipment? We're on it at ASCO Equipment. Visit ASCOEQ.com. Financing terms and conditions apply. See ASCO for details.
I was running until I wasn't. My hospital stay would have cost nearly $48,000, even with insurance. But with VA, I'll pay $0. And VA is the best, most affordable healthcare in America for veterans like me. Knowing that my family is waiting at home and a surprise medical bill isn't, that's good for my heart. My service was then, my benefits are now. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
Active Liver is the easy way to get daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Audio streaming on KURV.com. Powered by South Texas Buick GMC, McAllen Mission.
I thought you were a good guy.
I don't pay attention to emails from corporate. What are you talking about? We're discussing our holiday schedule for the weekend. I don't read those emails.
Well,
What are
come
you talking
Friday
about?
and see who's telling the truth.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Zach Cantu, along with the living legend, Davis Rankin, your 956 Drive Home. Join us this evening at 6, right after the 956 Drive Home, for Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman. It is such a treat to have him joining us for another broadcast this evening. And yesterday, he had some real bangers, too, so you're going to want to listen in today, this evening at 6, after your 956 Drive Home, Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman. Joining us now on 710 KURV. There was a vote. They actually voted the Texas Ledge on HB2, the school vouchers bill. There was a lot of discussion on this. I was watching the live feed. And for a summary of what happened earlier today, Harvey Kromberg from the Quorum Report up in Austin joining us on 710 KURV. What did happen today?
Well, actually, let me correct you. What they did was the school finance bill, which was HB2, and that passed overwhelmingly. That introduced substantial amounts of money back into the school systems with a designated portion going specifically to teacher pay raises. So that had broad-based support. They have just begun the debate on SB2, which is the voucher bill.
Oh,
And,
okay. I knew I got them mixed up.
And that one,
Because they kept talking about money, and you're depriving the kids, and the money's for the kids, and you're not giving it. So, so on the surface, it sounded like they were talking about vouchers because it was kind of like mixed in with everything.
Nah, we just got to the chairman, the public education chairman, Buckley, has just laid out the bill. The first round of questions were all supportive from Republicans. We've just now gotten to the Democrats beginning to challenge. One of the things that was just confirmed is that 20% of the $1 billion that's going to be designated for the scholarships or vouchers or whatever you want to call it is not subject to any caps and would be available for people making $1 million or $5 million to be able to apply. But there's a system of prioritizing that's in the bill, and I'm not sure yet that the mechanism has for doing the allocation has been clearly explained. That'll probably come up shortly in the debate. But unlike the Senate bill, which is just kind of a broad-based, here you go, let's throw it out there, this one at least does have some sense of prioritization, particularly acknowledging special needs kids.
They had some interesting special guests today, I'll say, with the Golden Commander, President Trump, and Greg Abbott before all this began, right?
Yes. The governor had called for a House Republican caucus meeting down in the Agriculture Museum, which is one of the few places in the Capitol that doesn't have any cameras. That's where you usually go when you don't want to be recorded. And it did surprise the members that President Trump did call in and heartily endorsed the bill, and did note that they were going to, in his effort to dissolve the Department of Education, they were going to be moving more money to the states with less strings, which obviously, at least on its face, has a lot of attraction. But there's no guarantee that what the president wants is actually going to be what Congress passes. So, and it looks like what they call the Big Beautiful Tax Bill is becoming more and more elusive, because it'll obviously be passed without much Democratic, I would think, without any Democratic support. And you've got a number of fiscal hawks on both sides that think it's a massive increase in expenditures. Which means that we may not get any additional funding here to replace the funds that if he's successful in dissolving the Department of Education. That's about $8 billion every 2 years, $4 billion a year, and that's a hole that they would have to plug, and was not part of the conversation on the new school finance bill.
Joining us on 710 KURV, Harvey Krumberg from the Quorum Report up in Austin. We're talking about pretty much everything that happened today. There's lots of talks about funding for schools in the state of Texas. Davey, your question, go ahead.
The idea has been floated to put to the people a referendum on whether or not to have vouchers in public schools. And I read
that is correct.
You know, Republicans are going to say, "Well, we had that referendum when we elected all of our representatives."
Well, what's the status?
Unfortunately, the governor went and massively lied about every Republican that opposed vouchers. So he went into those districts and, in some cases, spent $1 million running TV, saying that they couldn't be trusted on the border. He never once talked about vouchers in any of those campaigns. So no, there hasn't been a referendum.
And there's a surprising amount of support for a referendum in a recent poll. Am I right about that?
No, this is an idea that recently surfaced in the last couple of days.
Right.
As the Democrats realize, of course, they don't, even with the anti-voucher Republicans, they don't have enough votes to stop this. But there's a certain appeal to letting the public weigh in on it. And I think that's actually just kicking the ball down the road, because there will be massive amounts of money spent promoting. If it did go to a referendum, there would be massive amounts, way more money spent supporting vouchers or scholarships, as they're called, than there would be opposing it. And so my guess would be that it would prevail in an election. What's interesting is the governor was arguing initially that it was unconstitutional to do that. But some earnest legal researchers found an opinion when he was Attorney General that where he said no referendums were constitutional.
That is fascinating. I admit to, when I was watching the live feed on YouTube earlier today, that there was a good chunk of comments that were talking about putting it up to a vote for all Texans to sound off on, rather than just booting it through the legislature.
There's nothing, if I understand you right.
Especially because, go ahead, I'm sorry.
If I understand you right, if it passes as it is now, then somebody who wants to go to Cistercian in Dallas or that Kincaid school in Houston, these are fine private schools, apparently very expensive. And if you can afford to go there, you don't need a voucher. I mean, you don't need one. I would think you wouldn't need one, but you could get one of these and go there. There's not going to be a prohibition that the wealthy can
Correct.
get this.
Theoretically, there's a cap on the number of dollars that can be committed to people making. There's 20% of the current $1 billion budget that or proposal that could go to anybody with no income caps.
Okay.
But I'm not really clear if, for instance, there's actually 5 tiers. If you don't have a bunch of people applying for tier 1 and tier 2, mainly because they may not know about it, these are some of the poorest people in the state. Does that open those dollars up does that remove the cap if they've got unexpended dollars?
What can you tell us about go ahead, finish with that. I'm sorry.
No. It's just so that I can't speak authoritatively on that, but we're going to have a long, bloody fight tonight, and then ultimately it's going to be decided in conference committee, and then it'll be an up or down vote. And if they don't have some kind of cap, I think that we'll see. It's very fluid. Yeah. There's a lot of chest pounding going on particularly among some of the Republicans that would like to take this to the public, but this is a leadership bill. These folks want to be on the good side of the speaker, and just because they're chest beating in the morning does not predetermine how they're going to vote in the afternoon.
Our guest is Harvey Kronberg from the Quorum Report up in Austin, joining us on 710 KURV. I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, I saw some murmuring on social media about the budget. What has been solidified so far concerning the budget, and why would Team Red versus Team Blue have any complaints about it?
Well, the Team Red. I remember when we. Let's put it this way: it's a very expansive budget with lots of future promises of expenditures. You may have noticed the stock market crashed yet again today. Texas is on the cutting edge of the tariff wars, and there is a growing concern that the revenue estimate that is usually normally reliable to budget on may be seriously overstating the revenues we're going to have in 2 years.
Ooh.
And some of these promises that are in the budget are going to require constitutional amendments, so they'll be embedded forever. So we've dramatically increased our expenditures based on the illusion that we're always going to have budget surpluses. But you may have noticed oil briefly dropped below $60 a barrel. That you may have noticed that sales tax revenues for the first time in 10 years did not increase month over month. In fact, it declined month over month. March of 2025 brought in less revenue than March of 2024. All of these are and this is before the tariffs really kick in. Both sides have serious concerns that we're making promises that we can't keep. On the blue side, there were a number of things that were kind of cavalierly steamrolled by, say, for instance, $70 million taken out of Medicaid to fund alternatives to Planned Parenthood, where essentially these are semi-religious counseling institutions that are not as concerned with women's health as they are with deterring abortions. And you can argue that round or square, but that was kind of symptomatic of where some of the heartburn was. But generally speaking, everybody got enough of the pie that it had broad-based support. And the final budget, there's not a lot of light between the House Senate and the version Senate. So I'm sorry, the House version and the Senate version. And so the conference committee will tweak it around the edges, but by and large, what we saw is what we're going to get, and then we're going to find out at the end of May as to whether or not the comptroller can certify it, because he's already beginning privately to raise alarm bells about what the revenues are going to look like in 2 years. Ironically, of course, he's leaving the job in June to go become chancellor.
I forgot about that.
The wreckage will belong to someone else.
This is no longer my problem.
Right.
I'm headed out the door. I was going to ask you, it always comes up every legislative session about the rainy day fund. Who's talking about tapping into what?
Well, they're going to have to tap into it to fulfill all the promises that they have made. And the comptroller, Glenn Hager, told me, and I think he said it publicly, so I'm not disclosing any confidence. He said that we could land 2 or 3 of these planes, referring to the promises. But if the current economic trajectory persists, there's no way we can land all the planes they promised. And so we may find ourselves in a situation where at the end of the legislative session, when the comptroller does the certification, that he's unable to do it because in good faith. Now, typically what happens is if we have a shortfall at the beginning of the next session, we would have what's called a supplemental, and that would make up the difference. That's the first thing they would do before they talked about the next budget. But in 2011, which was our last major budget cutting session, the shortfall was so dramatic that there was no way for a supplemental to work, and they had to go in that session and do severe cuts. 2011 was the last time that we didn't have surpluses, that we actually had a shortfall. There's only 6 senators that served in 2011 out of 31, and only 18 of House members out of 150 that served in 2011. These folks have no idea what a budget cutting session looks like or feels like. And it's only about 20% of our budget is discretionary, so it can really be severe if we have a severe recession, which we did coming out of the 80s, and then with the great financial crisis.
Well, it's up to the crystal ball to decide, right? May the chips fall
Right.
where they may. All right, Harvey, that's our time for today. Thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate
you,
it as
Harvey.
usual. That's Harvey Kronberg from the Quorum Report up in Austin, joining us on News Talk 710 KURV. Up next, we'll take a check of your health.
Later this evening after the 956 Drive Home with Zach and Davis. Stay tuned for The Michael Berry Show, starting at 6 on News Talk 710 KURV, KURV.com, and on the Radio Farney app.
Dr. T's Primary Care, Dr. T's PrimaryCare.com. Enjoy a better quality of life. Feel better than you do right now, because something's probably ailing you. Something's ailing everybody. And sometimes you don't really know what that little something might be, but the guys at Dr. T's Primary Care, the experts there, they will pinpoint it. They will find it. They will sniff it out. They'll show you all the numbers, explain what's happening inside, under the hood, inside of your body, and tell you what you need to do to move forward from all of that, whether you're tired or stressed out, or there could be something going on. Your body needs something, and it's causing you to lash out at people in ways that you didn't really expect. That was an interesting quality that I learned from the experts at Dr. T's Primary Care. But if you're worried about low testosterone, they can help you out with that. They've got services for men and women in primary care, from the sniffles to the flu. And I've had to go there a good handful of times when I've been feeling under the weather, and they send me out of there with plenty of solutions to alleviate my symptoms and, of course, get those much-needed meds to make me feel better faster. They offer services for low testosterone, menopause treatment, peptide treatment, and IV vitamin infusions. Give them a call, McAllen area, 956-803-0058, and in Harlingen, 956-368-5247. Dr. T's PrimaryCare.com, Dr. T's PrimaryCare.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It takes one whiff. Everything on the menu seems to be calling out to you. Dish after dish looks so good that you just can't seem to make up your mind. Everything looks better than the last thing. It's almost mind-boggling, and that's the moment that you realize you are at the right place. Zen Asian Bistro. All you can eat. Sushi, all kinds, and always delicate, fresh, and delicious. Sushi and Chinese food all at the same place. Zen. Everything you want. Individually, custom, walk, wood-fired, crispy General Chow chicken, and all of your favorite Chinese food like sizzling steak lo mein. It's an experience you'll absolutely love. Lunch and dinner, all you can eat at Zen. You don't have to decide on one thing because you get it all. Everything on the menu is yours for one low price. All you can eat. Bring everybody. With kids' meals at just $8.99, there's just no better option out there. Zen Asian Bistro. All you can eat, unlimited, unforgettable, unapologetically affordable. Zen.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
This is Fox on Justice. Dallas Homeland Security investigations say they arrested Robert King, now accused of making terroristic threats against ICE agents, and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. King is a U.S. citizen and was arrested in McKinney, Texas. ICE sources shared those posts with Fox. In one Facebook post, he says, quote, "If I see ICE agents in my neighborhood, I am opening fire. It is time to stop being blank and put the Second Amendment to work. ICE are not real cops. They are a secret police force with no real legal authority. Kill them." In another post, King reposted an article about DHS Secretary Kristi Noem visiting the mega El Salvador prison where alleged Tren de Aragua members were taken. He wrote in part, quote, "I truly hope, and I mean this with all my heart, that Kristi Noem meets a horrible and agonizing demise." Secretary Noem has said if you threaten or attempt to harm a law enforcement officer, you will be found and prosecuted. Brooke Taylor, Fox News.
Brain rot is the inability to think clearly and creatively, even after only a few minutes of online scrolling, taking in low-quality, trivial garbage. There is a cure, but you might not like the side effects. I'm Kim Komando for NetSuite. Download the free CFO's Guide to Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning right now at netsuite.com/Kim. The phrase brain rot is more than 170 years old. Henry David Thoreau used it first in his 1852 book Walden, proving that low-quality writing, art, and expression has been around for ages. But with smartphones, the ultimate cure is to simply turn the phone off. For most, that's impractical. So we turn to dumb phones, which do nothing except make and receive calls. Now, those who have tried them report stress, anxiety, and a fear that they're missing something, but they cannot say exactly what it is, which is yet another example of brain rot. Start your day with my free newsletter and always be tech ahead at getkim.com. What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 answers. Rates rising or falling, inflation being up or down. Can someone please invent a crystal ball? Until then, over 41,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth, giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. When you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backward and more time on what's next. And speaking of opportunity, you can now download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Kim. The guide is free for you at netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim. netsuite.com/Kim.
Fox News, I'm Tom Graham. Federal Judge James Boasberg says he's found probable cause to hold the Trump administration in contempt after officials did not comply with an order last month to return deportation flights bound for El Salvador. Fox's Jared Halpern.
The administration argued that order came after aircraft were out of U.S. territory. Since then, the judge has asked Justice Department attorneys for specifics about those flights and writes none of their responses has been satisfactory.
The judge warning the matter could be referred for prosecution. California is suing the administration over President Trump's tariff plan. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom argues his state would be unfairly impacted due partly to its agriculture industry.
No state is poised to lose more than the state of California.
The president argues he's negotiating better trade deals with several nations. America is listening to Fox News.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. It'll be breezy this evening, otherwise partly cloudy, the low 71. Windy tomorrow with periods of clouds and sun. Tomorrow's high 87 to 95. Tomorrow night turning cloudy and breezy with a low of 74. Windy Friday. We'll see periods of clouds and sun. We'll wrap up the week with a high 89 to 96. For your Saturday, increasingly windy with sunshine through high clouds, a high of 89 to 93. I'm AccuWeather's Drew Shannon on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
Our call letters, KURV. Our frequency, 710 AM. Our specialty, news and talk. News Talk 710 KURV and KURV.com.
I'm Zach Cantu along with the living legend, Davis Rankin, your 956 drive home on your home for Houston Astros baseball. And the Astros didn't make it against the Cards earlier today. The Cardinals took that one 4-1. That was the final score for that one. And they're back at it again on Friday, back home against the San Diego Padres. And we'll broadcast that at 7 here on News Talk 710 KURV, made possible by Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women and Mission Economic Development Corporation. Interesting story. There's a guy, Davey, who lived in the U.S. and he moved to Europe. And without setting foot in a gym, without changing much of his eating habits, the lifestyle in Europe made him lose a lot of weight. This guy's like shredded now. And it just goes to show you what is going on in the U.S.
really.
that makes us one way and other countries another way. I have some more anecdotal stuff for you, but
Hot Cheetos with cheese.
Well, that's the Valley. That's a different, that's a completely different. Right? There's the United States, and then there's the Valley that separates us from the rest of the country. But Dr. Bill Hennessy is a healthy living expert at Care Guide, and he joins us now on 710 KURV. So let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about the healthy or unhealthy habits of the average American versus the average European. So what are some big key instances there?
Well, I didn't say it first, but I'm saying it. We are what we eat. So go ahead and stuff your face with fast food. Go out to American restaurants where at this point my wife and I split one meal and we're both full. The portion sizes are huge. And we're not eating at home enough. But the positive message here is some small, subtle changes. And without going to the gym, all of a sudden, you too can be a superhero.
That is fascinating. What other, there's a different level of activity in Europe than there is in the United States, correct?
Well, at least the places I've visited, plus those I see on TV, you do walk around more. We're not going to say you're hitting the gym, but you really can't drive. There's no place to drive. There's no place to park. So you're walking between work and home. So you're automatically getting some exercise. And the Europeans, when you go out for a coffee there, they're getting espresso or a latte, just milk and coffee. That's it. These drinks here, like at Starbucks and elsewhere, they have 400 to 800 calories in them. It's ridiculous, and we should be having less than 2,000 calories a day. You go out to fast food restaurant, it's tough to stay under 1,000 calories for just one meal.
And you're talking about, because I always see it online. Oh, the pink drink. Oh yeah, all the sugary stuff that you see at the coffee shops. And that's 800 to 1,000 calories worth of sugar and carbs, and there's nothing nutritional about any of that.
That's Starbucks. I think that's I don't know this, but I believe
I'm not throwing any brand names under the bus there.
Well,
I'm just like,
I think Starbucks was the first chain anyway to come up with the beverage as a revenue stream rather than just coffee. But from what I can tell, maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, well, it's the syrups too, that they put into the drinks as well. But
I'm told 3 pumps is typical of one of those Monin syrups. So that is a lot of sugar. And for all of us, if we eat too much sugar, especially later in the day, if our body isn't using it for energy, and guess what? We're really not. We're going to sleep at nighttime. Our body converts that extra sugar, called a carbohydrate, same difference, into fat. So if you're putting a bunch of bad carbohydrates, sugar, in your body at nighttime or with a late dinner, You're asking for it to just sit there and convert to fat every night, whereas the Europeans tend to have a bigger meal at lunchtime and don't go out as much for dinner and have more family cooking.
Dr. Bill Hennessy is a healthy living expert. He joins us now on 710 KURV. Let me ask you something. There's been some real interesting topics brought up by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on beef tallow and some of the oils that we use to cook with, how some of them are a lot worse for us than we might realize. Would you be able to point out any of those?
Good
well,
question.
I finished the 25th grade, but that does not make me an expert at anything. No medical school has taught nutrition with all of these additives, colors, 40 ingredients in potato chips instead of just a potato and salt. You got to believe it's bad for you. And this guy that went to Europe just proved it. I always believe in what I call a caveman diet. What does that mean? If it's fresh fruit or vegetables grown out of the ground, you can't get in trouble for that. No additives, it's fresh. You eat meat, protein is very filling, and you're less apt to snack. But when the caveman couldn't catch a cow, he'd go fishing, and that's more healthy protein. So you have fresh protein and fresh green vegetables especially. There's no way you can go wrong. You're going to get ripped yourself without going to the gym.
How active does somebody need to be day to day? I've heard that you don't even have to go running. You can go walking and it's just as good. Is that true?
It depends on how far you go. But yes, there's plenty of truth to that. If you're trying to do things to perfection to manage your weight, to be within a normal body mass index, you have three things to do. One is aerobic exercise, walking, running, swimming, bicycling, something that gets the heart rate up. Two would be weightlifting. Most people don't think of that. You don't have to get huge, but a little more muscle mass. Muscle burns calories. Fat does not. So if you lift a little weights, you can actually eat a little more and not gain weight. And the third is the most important as we get older, and that's called eat right. I didn't say eat less. Eat right or eat better. Especially when you start getting over 50 years of age, you can't exercise like the young people in their 20s and 30s. So what is becoming most important is those eating habits.
This is Davis Rankin. Back to tallow. I'm trying to figure out where I read something about it being a preferred fat or a better fat, but I thought it was just beef fat. Can you enlighten us on this?
Well, I myself don't use beef tallow. I'm a cooking and food snob. I basically eat in all the time. It helps keep me thin. I also save money that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I save money not only on healthcare for people, but even on my own food. That's just who I am. But yeah, I tend to use a little healthy, natural olive oil most of the time for cooking. And I'm not looking for the animal saturated fats.
Well, it is a saturated fat, correct? Is it like pig lard? I'm trying.
Yeah,
Davey,
I back out of that question.
Yeah, Davey,
I withdraw the question, Your Honor.
Or we got to look that one up. I'm just right now. I'm not. I'm not the expert on beef tallow, but I'm just going to admit I'm not cooking with it myself. Okay.
Are there any vegetables to avoid? Right, I've heard of certain vegetables like with starches or extra sugars that you might not be aware of as you're eating them.
Asparagus,
things like that.
In general, the ones that have less starches and sugars are going to be healthier and more fiber and fill you up. So green vegetables are going to be considered healthier than let's say something sweet like corn. And if you're going to go into the potatoes, the sweet potatoes are better than the regular Idaho russet potatoes. And the smaller potatoes that have more skin on it per surface area, the more skin that's on it, that keeps you feeling full, and it's healthy for you. Just like rice, it's brown rice is better than white rice, and regular rice is better than processed rice. That all speaks to the glycemic index, which means glucose index, which means sugar index. We just want to eat things that are less sugary, and that means we'll actually get full, and that's a good thing. But we're also not going to be eating extra sugar that converts into fat. That's also a good thing.
Dr. Hennessy, thanks a lot for spending some time to explain this to us this afternoon.
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Bill Hennessy at Care Guide, healthy living expert, joining us on 710 KURV.
You're just minutes away from the top of the hour news with Fox News Radio. Stay tuned for the latest headlines. News Talk 710 KURV. Your Houston Astros play here.
Left field. Good one. It's out of here.
Catch the action all season long on News Talk 710 KURV.
Deep to right field. And you can kiss it goodbye.
Don't miss the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd. We'll bring you each weeknight and weekend game with pregame and postgame coverage and all the action in between. Powered by Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women, Mission Economic Development Corporation, and News Talk 710 KURV.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Nothing helps your children with life more than confidence. Confidence is what they need to excel in school, in sports, and even on the playground. And where does that confidence start? Right in your own backyard. At Backyards Unlimited, our big redwood tree frog play systems aren't just swing sets. They're confidence builders. Imagine your child conquering a rock wall or mastering the monkey bars. That feeling, it carries over into how they play, how they learn, and how they interact with other children. For a toddler, that rock wall isn't just fun. It's teaching balance, motor skills, hand-eye coordination, and critical thinking. Every climb, swing, and hang is helping your child grow stronger inside and out. So what are you waiting for? Give your kids a head start in life by giving them a backyard full of possibilities. At Backyards Unlimited, we have every style of swing set imaginable to help your kids' imagination run wild. Backyards Unlimited on the Expressway across from the Shrine in San Juan. Backyards Unlimited, where quality and service matter.
For the latest news
happening now,
and to find out what's happening in rich, clear audio, just say, Alexa, play 710 KURV.
Zach Cantu, Davey Do, and you. It's your 956 drive home on News Talk 710 KURV. Happy Wednesday. If you missed the taxation is theft deadline yesterday, what are your options? CPA Bill Dendy will be joining us in the next hour to talk about that. What options do you have if you missed the deadline?
Send in an ugly note.
You're not on the air, Davey.
Send in an ugly note.
I mean,
because you refuse to pay because it's wrong. It's immoral. You're not gonna help.
I think a better question is: do you just wait it out until Doge comes in and gets rid of all the IRS agents? Is that what you're doing?
Just wait for them to call you. They'll follow up.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that.
Just hope all the problems will go away. That's what I do with a lot
Maybe
of
the
stuff.
second coming will happen, and I won't have to pay my income tax.
That was a Rick and Morty episode, by the way. there was an enormous asteroid about to destroy this planet, and they were just partying. And one of the characters destroys the asteroid, and you would think they'd be happy. Oh, we're not going to die. No, I got to go back to work on Monday. Thanks a lot. You ruined it for everybody. Yeah, I
never thought of it that
you'd
way.
appreciate that one. Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, we are having a best of program on Friday. That is why I made that comment earlier about I don't read the emails from corporate because normally we're working those days anyway. So yeah, we're gonna have a best of program here on Friday.
We tend to work till we're told not to work.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works around here. They say the office doors are going to be closed that day. Not for us, not our office.
I got a big rock.
Our office is never closed because when news breaks, we break in, right, Davey?
If you break in the building, the alarm goes off, I think.
Davey's like, you break in. I'm
right.
going to stay at home. Yeah,
I'll watch. I'll see if the police come.
I'm going to watch from my house. Yeah, so that's our Good Friday there. You're listening on News Talk 710 KURV, your 956 drive home.
News, information, and entertainment in crystal clear digital quality. Download the Radio Parami app and listen to News Talk 710 KURV and our family of Radio United broadcast and digital stations. The Radio Parami app. Download it now. Join News Talk 710 KURV Saturday night, May 3rd, starting at 7 for Local Decision 2025. Election Day results and analysis.
Okay, let's take it to a vote.
Comprehensive Election Day coverage with real-time updates and expert analysis on air, online at KURV.com, and on the Radio Parami app, your trusted source for news and Election Day coverage. It's Local Decision 2025, Saturday night, May 3rd, starting at 7 on News Talk 710 KURV. Covering the Valley and the entire world on KURV.com and the Radio Parami app. This is News Talk 710 KURV, a Radio United digital media and broadcast station. Tune in to the 956 Drive Home every Thursday afternoon starting at 5:07 for Dr. Rachel Gelman's Vision, a closer look at the health of your eyesight with board-certified and fellowship-trained ophthalmic surgeon Dr. Rachel Gelman on News Talk 710 KURV.
One of the blessings from El Pato, they serve breakfast tacos, patos all day long in plates. Think of it, 4 p.m., you're craving some chorizo, potato, cheese, egg, and some of those patos. Yeah, they'll serve those up for you. Order online, elpato.com. You know the location near you, call it in like I do. Have a bag full of breakfast patos ready for you any time of the day. Bacon, egg, chorizo, potato, cheese, you name it. Even barbacoa patos waiting for you. This is one of my favorite times of the year. It's Lent season. That means the nopalitos are back at El Pato. Nopalito and egg plate, only $6.59. Nopalito and salmon plate, $6.99. Fish tacos, $2.99. Nopalitos with egg, the nopalito plate, salmon patty plate. It's all real good. And don't forget the big special for a limited time. The spicy, very delicious, beautiful green tomatillo sauce. Spicy chicken enchiladas with that melted white cheese, rice, bean, and the drink. Only $6.99 for a limited time at El Pato.
History is unfolding, and you're listening to it on News Talk 710 KURV, Edinburgh, McAllen, Harlingen, Brownsville.
There could be criminal charges. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A federal judge has found a probable cause to hold members of the Trump administration in contempt for failing to return deportation flights bound for El Salvador.
The Constitution does not tolerate willful disobedience of judicial orders, D.C. federal judge James Boasberg writes in an opinion finding probable cause to hold members of the Trump administration in criminal contempt. Last month, Boasberg ordered deportation flights of suspected gang members to be turned around. The administration argued that order came after aircraft were out of U.S. territory. Since then, the judge has asked Justice Department attorneys for specifics about those flights and writes none of their responses has been satisfactory. The administration can purge itself of contempt, Boasberg says, by answering more questions by April 23rd.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The White House continues to push back on efforts to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the U.S. from El Salvador. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt again referred to him as a gang member of MS-13 and said Abrego Garcia's wife filed a petition for a protection order against him after 2 incidents in 2021.
The court ordered that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her.
A court filing shows the Trump administration intends to appeal a judge's ruling allowing federal officials to be questioned over Abrego Garcia's deportation. Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador today, but says officials there denied him a meeting with Abrego Garcia. America is listening to Fox News.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
A new development in the beating death of an inmate in New York.
Multiple corrections officers are indicted in connection with the death of an inmate at the Mid-State Correctional Facility in central New York State last month, according to New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Messiah Nantwi died at a hospital March 1st following what other prisoners said was a severe beating by guards, including members of a correctional emergency response team. According to the Times Union, which also reports some officers being investigated did not take part in the use of physical force, but may have violated policies to cover up what happened. The incident took place in the midst of a 22-day walkout by thousands of prison personnel upset over working conditions, with the governor forced to call in the National Guard. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, a member of the House Republican leadership, reportedly considering a run for New York governor. Stefanik had her nomination for UN ambassador pulled by the administration over concerns about leaving a Republican House seat vacant with such a small Republican majority in the House. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. reacting to new data from the CDC on autism rates and vowing to get to the bottom of it.
Early studies of autism rates were about 1 in 5,000 children in the 1960s to 1 in 31 in 2022, according to the latest CDC report, with autism rates even higher among boys at 1 in 20.
These are children who should not be suffering like this. These are kids who, many of them were fully functional and regressed because of some environmental exposure.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. commissioning a series of studies into whether mold, pesticides, food chemicals, medicines, or ultrasound technology are to blame. He's promised to identify the root cause of autism by September. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. It'll be breezy this evening, otherwise partly cloudy, the low 71. Windy tomorrow with periods of clouds and sun. Tomorrow's high 87 to 95. Tomorrow night turning cloudy and breezy with a low of 74. Windy Friday. We'll see periods of clouds and sun. We'll wrap up the week with a high 89 to 96. For your Saturday, increasingly windy with sunshine through high clouds, a high of 89 to 93. I'm AccuWeather's Drew Shannon on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
The Viva Fresh Expo in Houston, Texas was buzzing with innovation and industry insights, and 710 KURV brought it all to you. If you missed any of it, see it all again on our social platforms. The South Texas Pulse of Business. News Talk 710 KURV.
You pay thousands of dollars in property tax every year, and it just seems to get higher. But what if I told you you could potentially reduce what you pay each year significantly, and it would cost you absolutely nothing? Either we make your property tax bill smaller, or you pay us nothing, zero. We're CAD Tax. CAD Tax has successfully been reducing property taxes for years, saving people thousands of dollars, and that reduces your monthly payment to the bank, or it puts money directly into your pocket. Homes, apartments, commercial properties, CAD Tax makes it easy for you. CAD Tax, you pay absolutely nothing unless they win. And when CAD Tax wins, you win. 956-631-SAVE. CAD Tax, a local company where one of their expert staff members will assist you right now. 956-631-SAVE. 631-SAVE.
CAD Tax, CAD Tax, CAD Tax, CAD Tax.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic, available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
News, information, and entertainment in crystal clear digital quality. Download the Radio Parmi app and listen to News Talk 710 KURV and our family of Radio United broadcast and digital stations. The Radio Parmi app. Download it now. From the KURV Broadcast Center, this is the 956 Drive Home.
All right, we're doing this. Put on your seatbelt, check your mirrors. Let's begin.
Buckle up and get ready to talk about today's headlines and topics important to you. Here's Zach Cantu and Davis Rankin.
And just like that, it's Wednesday, right in the middle of the week. You're listening to 710 KURV. This is your 956 Drive Home. I'm Zach Cantu along with the living legend Davis Rankin. On today's program, if you missed the cutoff yesterday, the deadline on taxation is theft day. What are your options? CPA and money manager Bill Dendy will be joining us to talk about that very thing. Davey, you hit the deadline, right?
Roger that, Red Leader.
You paid him in privilege?
White privilege doesn't get you as far as it used to.
You know what? That's true. That's true.
It
I
sounds
hadn't
like
thought
a
about it
complaint.
like
It's really not, but it's just a fact.
Plus, I got plenty of stuff we didn't get to last hour from the state of Texas. Autism research in the news from RFK Jr. as well. We'll talk about that and more up next on News Talk 710 KURV or 956 Drive Up.
And now, important moments in news history.
Isn't this better than reading off a frickin' teleprompter? Right? Right? Anybody can do that except for Biden.
This is Fed. Important moments in news history. Zach Cantu, 710 KURV.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, it's Ramsey from South Texas Comic-Con, and we have a huge celebrity lineup this year, including comedy superstar Fluffy, TV legend David Hasselhoff, actress Juliette Lewis, and so much more. So come and meet celebrities at Comic-Con. It's April 25th through the 27th at the McAllen Convention Center.
Champuzzi! Flood got you down. Us, too. We can help just for you. Bring in your ride. Come on into Pueblo Tires today. Free estimates, mechanics, huge inventory, no credit, no problem. Lots of financing options. That's right, Pueblo Tires, the home of price match guarantee. Shampoozy. See store for details.
Shampoozy.com. Think tires, think Pueblo.
Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metal IRA Guide at BetterNestEgg.com. Don't leave your future to chance.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV.
Thanks for joining us this Wednesday afternoon. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV. Your 956 Drive Home with Zach Cantu and the living legend Davis Rankin. Astros, better luck next time up against the Cards earlier today. 1-4, the Cardinals took it. 4-1. Cardinals won today, but back at it again after a break on Thursday. On Friday, they'll be up against the Padres, and we'll be playing that at 7 here on News Talk 710 KURV, your home for Houston Astros baseball, made possible by Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women and Mission Economic Development Corporation. Earlier today, this is a press release from City of McAllen. It is with profound sadness that we share the passing of Assistant City Manager Joe Vera earlier this morning. Joe was a visionary leader whose dedication and passion transformed McAllen into a vibrant hub of culture and community. With over 5 decades of public service, Joe's tenure with the City of McAllen began in 2014. He oversaw key departments such as the Convention Center facilities, McAllen Public Library, Palmview Golf Course, and Parks and Recreation. His leadership was instrumental in positioning McAllen as a regional destination, notably through the coordination of major events like the McAllen Holiday Parade, which attracted over 240,000 attendees in 2024 and was recognized the best new event by the International Festivals and Events Association in 2014. The McAllen Holiday Parade, recognized as the world's best parade 8 times, Davey, 8 times. the best parade in Texas 9 times, and garnered McAllen recognition as a World Festival and Event City 3 times. Beyond his professional achievements, Joe was deeply involved in community service, contributing to organizations like United Way, Sacred Heart Catholic Church, Lions Club, Boy Scouts, and 4-H. He was an Eagle Scout, and he exemplified the values of dedication and service in every facet of his life. Joe Vera's legacy is etched into the very fabric of McAllen. His vision and unwavering commitment have left an indelible mark on our city. Joe would often quote P.T. Barnum, "The noblest art of all is making others happy." And in that sense, Joe was as an incomparable artist who brought joy to countless lives. And the city of McAllen, and us here too as well, we extend our deepest condolences to his family, friends, and all who were touched by his remarkable life. That was a press release from the city of McAllen earlier today. And of course, our thoughts and hopes and prayers go out to everybody, as this is a large hit to the community.
It's a big hit to the city of McAllen.
And the city of McAllen. Those are some pretty big shoes that they're going to have to find somebody to try to fill.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of responsibility there.
He was in charge of, you think about his things that he was given to do. They're not obscure, they're things that they're working well or not working well. It's apparent to everybody. So they obviously had a lot of faith in his ability to manage these events with lots of moving parts, like an event like I don't think it was Mixlon, but something like that, where you got how many vendors and ticket sales and beverages and just everything, and it all has to work together at the same time.
Yeah.
So
also, very eventful news day locally. South Texas Republican former Congresswoman Mayra Flores, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, announced yesterday, all the words mixed up. I was thinking Henry Cuellar and Flores and everything, and my mind just jumbled up. Mayra Flores had announced yesterday that she plans to run against Democrat Congressman Henry Cuellar in the 28th district next year. And then she was admitted to the hospital a few hours later and released yesterday evening. Representatives called it a sudden health scare, adding that she felt stronger than ever after being released. The man who jumped from the Queen Isabella Causeway to allegedly avoid arrest, now facing charges, Jose Roberto Boteo, appeared in court in South Padre Island yesterday. The investigators say that he jumped off the causeway on Monday after police officers tried to make a traffic stop. He reportedly has active warrants in Hidalgo County for robbery, deadly conduct, and unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. He's been charged with evading arrest and failure to identify, and has been given a $35,000 bond. I want to know, how hard did he hit the water after he jumped off of the causeway, Davey?
not hard enough to kill him or hurt him, apparently.
I think they would have mentioned that, right? If something were to have happened, if he jumped off like one of the higher parts and like injured himself in some way, I feel like they would have mentioned that.
He had to figure, well, what are I either take my chances with the cops, or I take my chances that I won't kill myself jumping into the water. I'll take the water. Thank you very much.
Can you imagine if the sharks were on that side of the causeway? It would be just like in the cartoons, how they're circling around, and, or like in Peter Pan, the alligator, the way the alligator opens wide, or the crocodile. I'm sorry, you get those two mixed up.
Somebody told me a long time ago that they were up somewhere high, and they could look down into the lagoon, into the bay, Laguna Madre, and they saw this ginormous hammerhead shark swimming in it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm not going in the Laguna Madre. I'm not going to go wading.
And then I don't know if this took place during the day or at night, but at night, driving over the causeway is one of the scariest, most ominous experiences you can have, because it's pitch black in the sky at night, right?
You don't like heights.
Especially if there's no moon or if it's overcast, it's pitch black, and then that's reflected in the water. And it just looks like you're driving into this black hole, Davey.
You're drunk and or disoriented.
You are driving into the abyss.
You ever been over that?
That is creepy.
The road that goes from Texas into Louisiana, like you're going to New Orleans, leaving Houston, Beaumont. I can't remember the street. I mean, I think it's I-20, but the bridge, you don't know the bridge I'm talking about? it just keeps going and going and going. It's like the tallest bridge. It's not tall and long.
Where was this?
It's just tall. It's on the interstate to Louisiana. I think it's I-20.
Yes, I drove over that a couple of years ago.
Ugh.
It's not as bad as the Causeway.
I
I'm
don't
not gonna
like-
lie. Well, we drove over it during the day, so it's a different story. At night, I probably wouldn't have tolerated it, but it's not like the Causeway, because
Just close your
the
eyes.
Causeway, it's like you're you're traversing the abyss, Dave. It's what it feels like when you're driving the Causeway at night. But that interstate around from Texas to Louisiana, that's a different story. Back to the state of Texas. Where did I leave this? Yes, a bill allowing universities to directly pay student athletes for their name, likeness, and image has the preliminary approval of the Texas House. State representatives are expected to give their final approval in the next few days, but it may face an uphill fight in the Senate. Opponents say that the proposal would put smaller schools at a disadvantage and wouldn't provide sufficient protection to students involved in the deals. Current state law allows national advertisers or athletic boosters to pay student athletes, but not universities. This one we'll have to table it for another day. I've got Football Fred on tap, though I haven't scheduled him necessarily because I didn't realize we weren't going to be here Friday. So I was thinking, well, maybe we could do it Friday.
We could do
And
it
then
on-
you guys tell me, oh, we're going to be out on Friday. It's going to be
Why
a
don't-
Good Friday.
Why don't we just do a Zoom show, just you and me and Football Fred?
For money? Because I
Well,
won't
no
do
one's
it.
going to pay us.
I won't do it
mean,
unless I get paid, David. You have to remember
well,
that.
that's a rule out then.
You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV, your 956 drive home. Coming up next on the program, you missed tax day. Taxation is theft day. What do you do now? What do you do now? CPA and money manager Bill Dendy joins us next on News Talk 710 KURV.
We know that we are going to hear.
Your next news update is minutes away
What happens next?
at the bottom of the hour on News Talk 710 KURV.
At Rivetta's Machinery on the Expressway in Donna, they're bringing you the best deals on Coyote equipment, and they're bringing it to your farm, backyard, job site, wherever you guys agree to meet. You can take advantage right now, this afternoon, of 0% interest or up to $6,000 cash back on Coyote back track loaders and skid steers. These are machines built for maximum performance, no matter the task to which you put them. But you don't want to stop there. They're also offering fantastic savings on Coyote tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles. And whether you're hauling or mowing, tackling some other big, nasty job, Coyote has the equipment to help you get it done. And if you're looking for great deals and great service from a team that treats you like family, look no further than Rivetta's Machinery and Coyote. That's K-I-O-T-I, Coyote. Start your next project the right way by visiting Rivetta's Machinery in Donna or browse their deals anytime at mynewtractor.com. That's mynewtractor.com. Rivetta's for the long haul. See dealer for full details.
A great deal on the construction equipment you rely on. Right now at ASCO, get 0% APR financing for 48 months on select case skid steers, compact track loaders, mini excavators, and backhoes with approved credit. Plus, no payments for 90 days on skid steers and compact track loaders. And with a 3-year, 3,000-hour premium extended warranty included, you're covered from the start. Need equipment? We're on it at ASCO Equipment. Visit ASCOEQ.com. Financing terms and conditions apply. See ASCO for details.
I was running until I wasn't. My hospital stay would have cost nearly $48,000, even with insurance. But with VA, I'll pay zero. And VA is the best, most affordable healthcare in America for veterans like me. Knowing that my family is waiting at home and a surprise medical bill isn't, that's good for my heart. My service was then, my benefits are now. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
Cat tax, cat tax, cat tax, cat tax. Are your property taxes too high? Well, you can kiss that money goodbye until you call cat tax. Oh yeah, we save money for you. Cat tax, cat tax. Call cat tax, cat tax. No savings,
no fees.
Call 631-SAVE. Cat tax, cat tax, cat tax, cat tax.
If your property taxes are too high, you don't have to just kiss your money goodbye. Not with CAD Tax on your side. CAD Tax, they do all the work and you save all that money. If they don't win, you don't pay. No savings, no fee. There's nothing to lose. That's the CAD Tax guarantee. Call 631-SAVE.
No savings,
No fee.
that's a written guarantee. Cat tax, cat tax, cat tax, cat tax.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Audio streaming on KURV.com. Powered by South Texas Buick GMC. McAllen Mission.
You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV or 956 Drive Home. I'm Zach Cantu along with the living legend Davis Rank. And we got a real treat for you at 6 o'clock as well. Stay tuned after the 956 Drive Home. It's Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman. He had some real bangers yesterday, Davey.
What banged the most? Do you remember?
They talked about abortion this week, and they talked about the LGBT community and many, many other things. They get into history and philosophy, lots of neat stuff. Conversations with Dr. Lawrence Gelman after the 956 Drive Home today. Joining us on 710 KURV right now is Bill Dendy, CPA and money manager, joining us on 710 KURV. So you missed Taxation is Theft Day. What do you do now? What options do you have, Mr. Dendy? Is it safe to say that you can't wait out Doge to eliminate the IRS?
You know, that would be a great hope, that if they would just find a new way to tax us some other way than doing these returns. I know people that may be getting money back, but still haven't done their taxes just because it's such a hassle to do it. Even if they have the tax planning programs to help them out, they get to the point where they don't understand the questions that the program is asking. In fact, I talked to a person who yesterday said they've been doing their own taxes for years, but a few years ago, it got so complex with their rental properties and their Airbnb that they weren't even quite sure how to answer the questions that TurboTax was asking them. And I'm like, well, then how have you been doing your taxes? And the guy said, well, when they ask me a question, I put yes, and look at what that does to my refund. And then I'll put no, and look what that does to my refund. And I picked
You
the
mean
one
you're
I
not
liked
supposed to
the
do
best.
that?
And I'm like, whoa, scared the bejeebers out of me. We went back through it. Turned out he was right most of the time, but that's not the way to do it.
Well, won't the IRS guy who shows up like work it out? Won't they reach an accommodation?
Yeah, they worked that out during the audit, right?
Well, and I don't care how cool you are. You really don't want to go through an IRS audit. It's just not fun. Have people rechecking your work. It's like getting sent to a principal's office. And most people, I'm grateful to say, happy to say, most people are pretty honest in most things in life. Yet most people tend to have a little fudging going on with their tax documentation. And they may actually be entitled to a deduction, but when the IRS says, did you keep track of your receipts of the clothing that you gave away to Goodwill? Because you got to know when did you buy it and what did you pay for it. Nobody's doing that.
Nobody keeps that
So they're
stuff.
taking deductions that they can't prove up if they ever had an audit, and everybody knows that that's the case. So I think that that's the challenge. You don't want to end up in that audit situation because even good people can't always keep their standards high enough to pass a severe audit with a strict auditor. But I don't think people should be terrified of the IRS if they've made a mistake. I've had a lot of folks that forgot to take required minimum distributions out of their IRAs in the past because, I don't know, the widow didn't know it. Her husband used to take care of it. She missed a couple years, and the penalty used to be 50% of what you're supposed to take out. That's a terrible penalty. I mean, even fraud was only like 25%. So there's a penalty that they're going to pose on an 85-year-old woman because she didn't know she was supposed to take the money from her IRAs. She didn't need it to get by. She didn't want to take it out because she knew it would increase her taxes. And when we finally figured it out, she missed about $40,000 of withdrawals, and the penalty on that was going to be $20,000 plus a tax owed. Yet, even the mean old IRS, if you talk to the people directly, if you can work with them, they abate penalties. They give forgiveness. They have mercy. They're able to work with you. And we hear on the radio people saying they'll deal with them for you. You can deal with the IRS if you're not afraid and if you realize you made a mistake. They'll write you a letter saying you're not entitled to get this relief. They're never going to do it again for you. But if you wrote them a letter saying, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again, they'll oftentimes give you some relief.
I think the thing that throws off some people about the IRS is the massive guns and ammo stash they've got. That might be a little daunting.
Well, the local guys don't have access to that.
That puts the real pressure on to get everything right, to make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Bill Dendy is a CPA and money manager joining us on 710 KURV. Davey, your question. Go ahead. Oh, actually, you know what? Did we actually answer the question? So you missed the deadline for filing taxes.
So
what options do you get? Is it too late to file an extension?
You won't have your extension. You want to go ahead and file your taxes as quickly as possible. And it's not a big deal if you got money coming back. It is a big deal if you didn't pay your taxes. And even if you got the extension in, but you didn't pay what you owed, you got the failure to pay penalty to worry about. And so it makes sense to go ahead and hurry up even with the extension and figure out what that right number is and pay those taxes, because those penalties are calculated on a monthly basis. And so the failure to file penalty is like 5% of the tax owed for each month your return is overdue, up to like 25%. So it's serious. You want to quickly get that resolved. It's not like it's going to be terrible if you get it done in the next 30 days. If you owed a little bit more money, it's only 5% for 1 month. Don't wait. Don't make it 25% penalty. And the failure to file penalty is worse than the failure to pay penalty. So they want you to file it, let them know what the numbers are, even if you can't pay it. And then you can put payments on payment plans or negotiate settlements with the IRS if you're in that horrible situation. But occasionally, life just serves up a lot of challenges for people, and the IRS does compromise if you're not a fraudulent bad actor. And I think that that's one of the things that people need to kind of realize, is that it's not the right answer to run and hide. To keep taking those envelopes, and we don't want to open them, so we take the unopened envelope and throw it in a drawer, and you get stacks of them, and a year later you open them up and it's like, yeah, we're getting worse and worse, and now I've got a problem because the IRS does have the power to stop my future refunds, to actually go and take my assets from me. You don't want to get into that situation.
Bill Dendy, CPA, joining us on 710 KURV. Your question, Davey?
Well, I wanted to double, I guess, to make sure that other than the occasional errant person, if you don't file or you file late, the IRS doesn't come to your door or your office. I'm guessing you get a phone call or a letter, but the people, your first contact is I would think would be crucial. So you don't want to be belligerent and you don't want to be hostile. You want to be honest, but I'm hear you saying that that if it's defensible reasons for whatever your circumstance is, they're not necessarily going to chop your head off.
They're not guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
They're not going to threaten you. And if you get a phone call, I've seen so much of this happening with senior citizens now, where they'll get a message saying, you're delinquent with the IRS. We're sending a person to you today. You must pay them cash or we will take you to jail.
That's not right.
And you know that that's not right. That's not how the IRS operates. That is a bad call. That is where you call for help, hang up the phone. Don't answer those. The IRS will not send those types of notices. They don't ask for payments on gift cards. I've seen emails going around that the IRS is willing to settle your outstanding balance for $200 in gift cards today. And it's like, I'm surprised that it works, but that's not the way IRS works. Don't lead into that. And most audits are going to be simple mailbox audits, computer generated. They're usually because you missed a 1099. Maybe you had a gig job and they issued a 1099, but you moved, it didn't get to you. And you just didn't remember to put that on the return. It didn't show up with your regular job and your regular bank accounts that you'd usually record. And so you left it off. I've had people say that they did a little bit of driving for Uber, or they did a little bit of work at a restaurant, or they picked up a part-time job at a stadium or whatever, and they ended up with a little check. Those types of audits are simply going to be a letter to you saying, we recalculated your taxes. It looks like such and such company reported $1,000 more income that you didn't report. If that is the case, then you're going to owe us another $150. Your options are to accept it and send the $150 with $50 or whatever it is, $20 of penalty and interest, or to contest it and hear your rights as a taxpayer. And most of us are going to just go ahead and write that check for $150 plus a 20% penalty, and we're done with it. Don't ignore it.
So there's no reason to be scared.
Correct, but those are the issues that catch most people.
There's no reason to be afraid of the IRS. And real quick, because I am up against the clock, but I wanted to just ask you real quickly that the ways that the IRS contact you for people out there that want to be wary of any scams.
They will not generally come to the door for an audit. They generally will not request you. They will call you on the telephone and request you to make payment over a telephone. Generally, their first contact is going to be through the mail at your address, and you can even check out the numbers, and you can use the IRS website, and the IRS.gov is a great resource for a lot of folks who are wanting to check out their transcripts to see ahead of time what got reported to the IRS with your Social Security number or your spouse's Social Security number. And so those are the types of things that can be quite useful. But yes, you're exactly correct. The IRS does not come to our office usually, and they do not come, they usually won't even make an outgoing phone call. And the IRS, they've had a lot of work dumped on them since COVID, and they had fewer people to do the work. And you probably heard of the stories that they're so far behind in processing returns, and they're continuing to be asked to do more work with fewer people that it's very difficult for the IRS to keep up with workloads. So it's understandable when you call in, they can't get back in touch with you when you have some challenges. I would say be patient. It takes a while to work things out with the IRS when you do have to work with them. And it can be frustrating because it's oftentimes hard to get an actual person. But when you finally do, most of them are regular people like you and me, and they do want to help out when they can, especially if you're not that bad actor trying to do tax evasion. If you just had a mistake, they're usually going to be very nice to you.
Yeah, taxation is still theft, Bill. Just throwing that out there. Taxation is still theft. Hey, I know you're busy. Go ahead.
Just keep that to yourself.
I know you're processing a lot of the stragglers right now. Thanks a lot for spending some time with us today. Appreciate it as always. Bill Dendy, CPA and money manager, joining us on News Talk 710 KURV.
It's Local Decision 2025, Election Day results and analysis. Saturday night, May 3rd, starting at 7 on News Talk 710 KURV, KURV.com, and on the Radio Potterme app.
If you're looking for authentic Mexican cuisine, and we do have our own cuisine down here. It's not just Mexican food. It's a culture that's produced a particular kind of food that we all love, and that people, They remember how good it was when they go off to college or the service, and they can't get it where they are. Well, no, you can't get it where you are. You have to get it here in the Rio Grande Valley. And more particularly, you have to get it at Zamora's restaurants in McAllen and Edinburg. Daily specials to tantalize your taste buds. The atmosphere at Zamora's is warm and inviting. It's family friendly. The prices are family friendly. They're also big gathering friendly. So if you have friends in from out of town and you want to take them out for a nice meal, maybe some taste of the way we live down here, then it's Zamora's. Won't break the bank. And they've got an extensive menu. That's the consequence, the result of 50 years in doing the restaurant deal in Edinburgh and in McAllen. Eat in or take out. The menu, the specials change daily. There's always, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, always a special. So it could be something that you've lusted for, like enchiladas or mole poblano. You can't get mole everywhere, but theirs is fabulous. Or maybe it's just a carne guisada or they're fajitas. Oh, who doesn't like beef fajitas? 3 easy-to-find locations, McAllen and Edinburgh. Zamora's restaurants going to be your choice for eating out, dining out, entertaining friends, because it offers that authentic South Texas Tex-Mex Mexican food flavor. Zamora's restaurants, McAllen and Edinburgh.
This is your Financial Planning Minute. I'm Dave Barnes, Certified Financial Planner with Ameriprise Financial in McAllen. As soon as your children begin to handle money, start teaching them how to handle it wisely. An allowance is a good way to begin. Set parameters, discuss how they can use the money and how much should be saved. Open a savings account to introduce them to the concepts of interest and compounding. For things they want but can't afford right away, teach them to write down each goal and the amount that must be saved weekly to achieve the goal over a period of time. Teach them the principles of investing, such as risk tolerance, time horizons, market volatility, and asset diversification. Consider the use of a prepaid spending card when that time comes. This allows a young person to gradually get the hang of using credit responsibly. Help older children to prepare a budget and develop a system for keeping track of spending. If you have questions, give me a call at 772-4200 or toll free 877-377-7555. I'm Dave Barnes of Ameriprise Financial.
News Talk 710 KURV captured the conversations at Rioplex. Our own Sergio Sanchez shared what this event means for the future of business and economic growth in the Rio Grande Valley. Relive all the insights on our social media platforms. We are the South Texas Pulse of Business, 710 KURV.
Ophthalmologist Dr. Rachel Gelman introduces the light adjustable lens for cataract surgery, the first and only lens that can be adjusted after cataract surgery in the comfort of our office. The configuration of the light adjustable lens is modified according to your personal lifestyle, desires, and vision goals. This allows you to customize and design your vision with complete confidence. Gelman Vision is your LASIK, cornea, and cataract specialty center.
Jay Gonzalez, the Valley's top lawyer with over 20 years of experience.